think we'll start off by just going down the line. Maybe just introduce yourself, which film you're a part of, and the role that you had. We can pass the mics.
Are we starting here? Yeah. Okay. I'm Berger. I was the writer, director, and producer of Repair.
I'm Alex Aguilera. I'm the writer and producer of the last one, The Exchange.
I'm Chris Coates. I'm the writer, director, producer of the first one, Stay Lost.
Hi, I'm Nicolas. I am the one-man band of the 1 minute film right in front of you.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm the writer-director for After Sunset, Dawn and Rise.
Hi, I'm Fatina El-Hamaida Miller, and I'm the writer-director of Atar, the one in the perfume shop.
First of all, I'll start off saying a huge congrats to all of you. The film was really beautiful. And I'm going to start off with kind of a sin of moderating with quite a vague question, but something I saw throughout all these films. I think individually, they beautifully managed to show an intersection of queerness from cultures with Muslim, Asian, Latinx, all the way to neurodivergent intersection with queerness, nomadic intersections with queerness. And I think for me, just looking at the theme of this year's festival of Futures Without Fear, that really encapsulate a fearless future, where those representations just managed to embody the film and develop us. And looking at the cumulative films together, I think they just managed to create this real vast and rhizomatic exchange of what that future can be. And I just wanted to throw that out there to see how that kind of informed your creative process of these films and how you thought through those ideas. Anything you want to start?
First of all, it's such an honor to be included in this incredible program. Like, my producer, Fada, and I were just crying the whole time in the audience. We're like, oh my God. Such incredible shorts, and I feel like for me, all of them kind of showed this reality versus fantasy world, which I loved. I feel like that theme kind of resonated for me from the whole program. I don't remember your question at all, I'm sorry.
But I can ask more specific questions. In regards to your film, I think something that really managed to mesmerize us all, aside from the amazing quirkiness, was the ability to use this nostalgic form to talk about such simmering tensions between culture and traditions. And I just wondered, how do you land on that form and how do you use it and think through that?
Yeah. Oh, also, the throwback was also a theme that played within so many shorts. Loved it. I feel like for me, I was using the form of Ramadan soap operas that I grew up watching at my tata's house, like from the 90s and early 2000s, and they're just so iconic. I feel like very stylized, and I wanted to put queer joy in the center of it and kind of repurpose that nostalgia and that form that is so popular, like in Muslim culture, and imagine, a future where queer love is celebrated. So, yeah.
Similarly, building onto that, Andy, you managed to do so similarly, basing the film in 2005. It has this nostalgic tendency. And I just thought, was there some sort of cathartic ability when looking back in time at histories at something past? Was there something freeing about being able to tell the story and create reimagination of that time? Yeah, did that manage to create more freeing time for you, or what was the idea behind that nostalgic looking back?
Thank you for asking that question. And first of all, thank you for bringing up the intersectionality. So I think for Asian, especially Chinese, like an elderly Chinese man, I think being gay is not the same as being like growing up in the Western world as a, say, like a white gay man. It's totally different. And the reason why I have a ballroom place is because it's like a sanctuary place for the Asian people to group together and socialize, and it's an iconic place. And we shot in a real ballroom in Montreal Park, and that place is actually a real ballroom. It's not a place for gay people specifically, but it's for the Asian community to come together and socialize. And the reason why I said it in 2005 is because I feel like, first of all, I think at that time is even more like conservative. At that time, I think if you're talking about being gay in 2023, it's like much more open than compared to 20 years ago. That's why I said it in early 2000. Yeah.
Thank you. Alex, I was going to ask you a question about writing that that incredible twist that happens midway through the film. I think it took us a lot by surprise because you create this. There's this real realistic tone that just is shifted, and when the magical shift happens, it still just plays off and creates this real calmness. I just like, how do you come up with that beautiful?
Yeah, we'll do something like touch everybody, like non-binary, transgender, straight, gay, also straight. Actually, we touch everybody with this movie, and we wanted to do like very normal. You know, this when it happens, it's not, oh my God, I have a penis. No, it's not like that. It just, you know what happened? It happens. And where is she? And then, and I think this travel and then, you know, when they are together after that, everything changed because of the sensibility. And it could be like in the normal life you can have that. The sensibility of maybe two friends or people or everybody, you know, after something happens, you see people different. And I think it happens with these two leads over two eyes.
It really did work beautifully in that film. And I saw a nice conversation in Repair and Intercambio in the sense, the kind of realism that then has these heightened filmic sensibilities that really in Repair, I think, manages to really create this portrait and testament of that kind of love that's there. And I just want to know how you navigated that space of, especially when creating that intersection of neurodivergent characters in a queer story.
Sorry, you mean in terms of the fantasy element? Or just
Yeah,
in
the height with the lighting kind of cast of characters
Yeah,
in
I mean, I
space.
think I'm always interested in trying to find ways to represent the internal world somehow, kind of like visually. And I mean, I think what's interesting for me with sort of cinema is, I don't know, playing with all those kind of, yeah, fantasy or the sort of possibilities of doing things with the camera and the lighting and the staging that you can't do sort of on stage, if you will. So I guess I was thinking about ways to try to represent, it's sort of, well, semi-autobiographical, so I was trying to find ways to communicate those situations or those experiences of being on stage and having lots of lights in your face. Yeah, so I think I was just looking at like what are the sort of possibilities we can do in terms of like with the sound or with those kind of like magical realism devices. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those devices really made those tender moments that much more tender when we got to live with the characters in them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think overarching there is these kind of beautiful portraits of different intersections, and nothing more so than Nicolas' film with a portrait of a character. And I want to hear a bit more about how you came up and that process of that 1 minute film.
So yeah, that was for the Outfest Fusion 1 minute movie contest, and essentially I just called my friend and was like, hey, down to shoot? And I like pitched it to him like, this is how we can do it. And yeah, I was discussing with other filmmakers at the other events, like I was actually feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome coming up onto the stage or even like screening here, because like some of the other films I have shot, you know, you put so much labor and intensity and you go through hell and back to like screen at these festivals. However, like I think that film and writing that like script and the dialogue and really actually came to me and saved me in this moment, because I think that that concept of envisioning abundance, which was the prompts for that 1 minute film, really allowed me to feel like, hey, like I can like have art that doesn't necessarily need to be like going through hell and back. I can like literally just like make something and then appreciate it for that moment. So that was kind of like that process to fruition. Yeah.
Amazing. And Chris, the queer nomadic kind of space you created. And I know you're working on another documentary that touches on this, and I just want to know how that exchange between the two projects happened and your investigation into that kind of spaces fed into both projects and vice versa. I think that one's a documentary project, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was friends with a lot of nomadic people in college. People my age, they were just more interesting than the people I went to college with. And, you know, there's a huge queer community there because people, you know, get kicked out of their homes or they just aren't happy where they are. And so they hit the road and they become, you know, nomadic, and they can have all these amazing experiences and really like find out who they are. And so I was always fascinated by their world and wrote a feature script. This is sort of a, you know, offshoot of. And in that process, the location we filmed at, Slab City, which is an off-grid community that's kind of seasonal. People go out there for the winter to kind of get off the road. And the location we shot out is called Flamingo Camp, and that's ended up, you know, pandemic happens, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do now, but that's a cool place. Like, maybe they'll let me actually film them, you know, as like the subjects. And so that's a documentary that we're finishing up right now, a little profile on that camp. So
Amazing. I mean, you can really see how that investigation also lifts itself through the performances we see in the film. It's a real testament to that project. And
yeah, I really wanted to highlight what a beautiful community that is. Very, you know, people you don't see in our community normally, like portrayed in media.
yeah, I think that's definitely an overarching thing throughout all these films, and I commend you once again, all of you, for those amazing films. And I think we have a bit of time for a few audience questions, if anyone has any specific questions for any of these filmmakers up here. Right in the back.
I guess for my question is going to the last film and just the concept of, I mean, you kind of briefly touched on it, but just like being able to switch gender. Was your idea kind of like it was a dystopian, like this was the society, like it was like the society that we lived in where if we shared intimacy with one another, we could just switch genders, or I just thought that was kind of interesting in itself as like a concept.
So just to repeat the question so everyone can hear, it's talking about our Intercambio, and if this is kind of part of a dystopian world in which this gender swap has something like more expansive in that space, or was it a, yeah.
Yeah, as I said before, you know, we wanted to do like the switch. When we made the switch, we thought about all the spectrum of the of LGBTQ, and want to do like something that you can feel part of it, whoever you are. That was all. When we think about the film, we start like this with the switch, and then we create everything the whole around. Of course, the girl also, she enjoyed hers, so it was important for us to happen. So it was like that. Just like the switch is like you can feel part of it, whoever you are.
Any other questions from the audience? Oh, yes.
Yeah, same record. What would happen in episode 2 or 3?
What happened? It's a series.
Now you know what happened. I started writing the second part, her part, to me like because I think it's very important to see the other part too. I will not tell you because it will be a spoiler. But the thing what we have in mind is like have like the parts that they are together will be the same, but you will left the guys and you will go with the girl, and you will see what happened with her, and then we'll have like 2 short films. We'll make that like a big film.
Queer universe.
We're on that. Let's see what it will happen. I hope so.
Got time for 1 or 2 more questions. If not, I can ask my question. But I'd love for the audience to ask these filmmakers. Yes.
Just curious which camera you shot your films on.
So more technical question: which cameras did you shot your films?
Right here. Right.
Right.
Alexa Mini?
Alexa Mini.
My little Sony A7S III came through.
Sony FX9 because we couldn't afford Arri.
Yeah, Alexa Mini. with a discount.
Oh, I mean, for Alexa.
Yes.
I was looking for actors outside from John, if there was someone specific who inspired you for your main character.
So just repeating the question, if there's someone specific who inspired you for your main character in Off the Sunset.
Actually, it's my grandpa's younger brother. He's actually not gay. But I think just like one day, I think he passed away when he was 70 something, just on a modern day. He was not sick or anything. He just passed away on that day. I think because of his death, I started to think about a lot of questions about life. I was thinking about what if like an older person like him has suppressed a kind of a feeling his entire life and haven't really been act on it. So that was the original inspiration. It's from like a relative's death, then generates a bunch of questions about meaning of life and all that.
Amazing. We're gonna have to wrap it up now, but the filmmakers will be outside the lobby, so feel free to ask them more questions. So once more,